what do you think about the guitar method being widely used currently?
Like
Uh,
teaching method.
yeah, like the textbook or all those stuff. It's great to have like opportunity to study with Pepe, the Romeros, or the other great musicians. But for a lot of people, they don't have teachers,
Access to.
right? They
Hmm.
not be able to learn from the greats. So a textbook or a guideline method probably is required for them to improve, right? So what do you think about the current state of those textbooks?
Well, I know that in the United States, it's all over the place. There are hundreds and hundreds of books that to choose from. More for me now, and what I adopted on early is that you have to, we all have an understanding of like what a student needs to learn,
Yes.
and one of the things that I've gone back and forth about is how intensely I teach them to read music from the very beginning.
Hmm.
Because at the beginning, back, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people would say, how do you make a guitarist stop playing music? You put a piece of music in front of them.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
So the reaction to that in the guitar community was to try to teach reading in a very intense way so that we could become like a pianist and like a violinist and like all these other instruments, and that was good. But one of the things that we noticed is if you hit or if you put a lot of effort into reading at the expense of technique and beautiful music making, it suffers, and it can
Hmm.
suffer for a very, very, very long time because they are reading and they're reading through material with bad form,
Hmm.
and that bad form that they've created over a couple of years
Mhm.
can take another 4 years to try to reset. So that's where methods like the Suzuki method
Hmm.
really shine. And even when I spoke to Pepe one time, he challenged me, and really got me to change the way that I thought about it because I was still pretty intense on reading music at an intense level. I was saying that Pepe recommends students to learn form and playing and learn music by rote for a
Hmm.
long period of time so that they can develop a solid form. And his is 6 to 12 months, or something like that. But I'm certain he's right. Everything I've seen from the Suzuki method, I just know it's very solid. And other methods that would teach students to study music in this way, in a visual way,
Hmm.
with their teacher, going back and forth and like just little corrections, for the left and the right hand, are essential for the developing musician, and not only the very young, but whoever is getting started,
Hmm.
to play the instrument. So any method that is focused primarily on reading at the very beginning is probably not going to be very effective in the long run. Or it's going to just take a much longer period of time to become that excellent musician that you want to be.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think guitar sight reading is much more difficult than the piano, right? So how
Sure,
to balance
sure.
that?
At some point you do have to dig in quite hard. And I think that most methods do not, when you do start to incorporate reading, most methods only talk about like string one, like fret 0 through 3
Hmm.
in first position, and then they'll devote a single page to learning. And then you have a couple pieces, and then you go on to the next string. But we know from learning how to read in any language that that's not how we're taught to read.
Hmm.
It's like we read and we read and we read and we read countless examples, of things to create fluency. There's not a method out there that I know of that teaches fluency in reading for guitarists, at least. So for me, I would use many methods. Like there's the Frederick Node solo one guitar method. It has a lot of examples in it.
Hmm.
So I like to use it. But even it's not enough. You get through it, and then you need to continue on with more reinforcement of just continually reinforcing reading. it takes time. You have to teach impositions, all of those things. I mean, it's not a fast process. But the biggest problem in methods, that's what we're talking about, is that they do not devote enough time to reading.
Mm, absolutely. So, but in modern education, we found out there is not enough time for people to practice because people are very busy at working and study and all those stuff. They don't barely have enough time to practice. I would suggest people really want to learn a music instrument, probably practice at least 1 hour per day. But for those kids, probably they only have 15 minutes a day, and it's very hard for them to learn the music
Yes, I mean, 15 minutes a day is not going to get you very far on anything that you're trying to do. I mean, uh, but time allocation is a problem all over the world, for young people with all the things that they're trying to accomplish with school, and different priorities. I think magic happens when you get to 30 minutes with young children. I mean, 30 minutes can make a big difference from 15. And I
reading.
think oftentimes, like, just kind of negotiating with parents to see if there's any way to get that extra 15 minutes. Uh,
Yeah, same battle everywhere.
yeah, sure. Yeah, we're all having the same conversation. And then the quality of that practice, right? I mean, that matters more than anything. And I'll try to meet the student wherever they're at. I mean, we have some popular artists, and that students really want to play, and maybe they come in and they play, 20 minutes of classical with me, and then the last 10 minutes we'll work on popular music. I've never had a problem with that. And to me, what I've noticed is longevity, because the morale of the student is paramount. And how they feel at the end, if they can be excited about what they've learned, and if they can see the connections. I'll often take a popular song and turn it into like a Giuliani right hand study. It's like, okay, let's go through the exact same chord progression that you're doing and the exact same timing of the chords as they change, but we're going to be working on this very specific right hand.
Hmm.
And to me, it's like, the chords of the Giuliani right hand studies, that is not the point. It's the right hand. So it could be any chord that's happening, while this is happening. And anything we can do to increase joy and engagement, for the student. You're both great teachers, I know. So you know this already, but just talking about my own personal experience.
So we were constantly being asked, like especially here in China, a lot of parents they were very curious about like being an artist or like being a musician. If my kids study music, what they can do? Can they find a job?
How to make a
How to
living?
make a living? What can they do after they graduated? How do you think about this question?
Sure. I don't know every global economic circumstance, right? Like, as far
Mhm.
as like what prospects are. I have a very talented student named Jackson Roberg, who just graduated recently, and unbelievable guitarist. Near the end of his academic journey, he became very interested in law and wanted to do law that was kind of helping people who were victims of different types of violence. Just became very passionate about it, and it was a very beautiful thing. And after he got his degree in guitar, he took the LSAT, which is what you have to take to get into law school in the United
Yes.
States. And he was 3 points shy of a perfect score,
Wow.
which meant, so now he's at Northwestern on a full ride.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
there was a period of time where I was a financial advisor. I was a stockbroker, and selling investments, and I had music degrees. That's all I had, was music degrees, and I was able to go from those music degrees to being that in one summer. I had an office and was doing that, doing that business. I think one of the problems that we face, and I don't know if this is everywhere, but it's like, in at least here, it's like getting a music degree does not mean you can't do something else.
Hmm.
And oftentimes the employers will look at a music degree, and if they have any understanding of what that is, then they will know how hard the person had to work to get it. And that is more important than the soft skills of the little the factoids that they would learn in other college classes. There's something about the music making process, the art making process, that many employers can see value in. Maybe not all employers, but many. Many of my students have taught at the college level after they've graduated, and many of them have performed. But the performer, I think globally, it is a different profession. It is a profession that it's not a cookie cutter profession. You don't walk out and society doesn't deem you a performer and we're going to pay you a salary. It's not a salaried position. So you have to, usually, you have to go out and find your work constantly and develop your career. There's also education. And you can teach guitar in public schools in many places. And what I try to encourage my students to do when they come and study at Oklahoma City University, I'm like, don't just get the performance degree if you're interested in something else. Because at OCU, you can study music and pre-law. You can study music and composition. Our composition program is very strong. And to me, like when you connect guitar and composition together, oh man, like the possibilities open up wide. And you can do music and business. And you can get that music and business degree. And that way you walk out and the business people can look at it and say, okay, they have a business degree. The music people can look at it and say, oh, you have a music degree. So branching out from the point of study, I think is important. Being versatile. Because no matter what, I think the people who have the hardest time in life are the people who can only see a very singular, narrow path for how their career progresses. Because life just doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Life just doesn't work that way. But, just because you get an accounting degree or a degree that seems safe does not mean you're going to walk out into a job either, right? Because I know I have many friends who thought that was going to be the case and it wasn't.
Yeah.
If we're promoting like higher education for music, we need to make sure that those students are flexible. I wouldn't, if they're doing performance by itself and the option exists, I would tack on something to it, connect something to it to make them more marketable for when they do graduate, but not only marketable, but to enhance their experience of the world so that they have a greater understanding of music and possibilities. I've asked several of my graduates, and I say, do you regret, if they're not in music, I said, do you regret getting this degree? I just asked Colin Diebert. You remember Colin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah, so Colin graduated. Colin was a college professor, and then he decided to take a high-paying job at a business. And I had lunch with him. I said, well, Colin, what do you think? Do you regret doing this? And because he's got the job, the high-paying job. And he said, for 6 years, I did exactly what I wanted to do. I have no regrets, and I think that we're also talking about the quality of someone's life through this higher education process. The benefit of the quality of life doesn't change after they graduate. They still have all of this music. They have all of this experience with the humanities and beauty that they've added to their life that can help them navigate any career.
Yeah, I really like the answer. And one more question. How to get a full ride in OCU?
I think that for something that really helps me is especially if they're coming from a far away, having someone like you, like both of you, that can be kind of a conduit, that can help communication, that can help with the process of getting them here, that can help me understand who these people are. That's as I've said from the very beginning, that's as important as anything. And then of course when they play, I think you playing at a high level, of course, it does matter. But moreover, it's looking for the people who sincerely see music as a means of making a difference in this world. If they want to come and they just want to do competitions, I'm not really interested in that. That just makes me tired. I'm just thinking this is not going to be a happy existence. Because when someone comes to your university, you're making at least a 4-year commitment to be with each other and to help each other. and to try to foster this person's career. And I just want to make sure that they're good for the ecosystem, because the students that I have here are incredibly important to me. And it's important that the people who come into that system have the qualities that we talked about before. Because it only takes one toxic person. It only takes one person who
ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, or at least make things very difficult for each other. And I don't think people think about that very often. But as a professor and as someone who cares very deeply about the program is everything. And because I'm not going to be their only teacher. Their upperclassmen are going to teach them. They're going to be at lunch together. They're going to be at dinner together. They're going to be in the practice rooms together. They're going to be helping each other. They are all part of this. We are all part of this journey together. And I don't think most universities think about it that way. And that's another thing that makes us so different is who we are as a whole. So again, when you find those people wherever they are in the world, that want to be a part of something like that, then I'll move heaven and earth to get them here.
Absolutely. Thank you for answering all those questions.
And thanks for the time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And,
you're both awesome.
We hope that we can bring you to China again soon, maybe.
I would love that. And vice versa. Come. Yes,
Okay.
anytime.
Okay.
Absolutely. Then we're gonna stop from here. Then bye-bye.
Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye.